Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
And welcome everyone to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeff Malanoff, and with me is my baseball nemesis, is my ace to my sleeve. It is Mark Souza. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. What was that, ace to the sleeve?
I don't know. I was trying to come up with some new terms. Ace, pitching ace, you're on my sleeve.
Okay. I'm doing good. How are you?
We're good. I'm good. Thank you for asking. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about. We got the ALCS and NLCS games going on at the moment. We also have to talk about the scandals that are happening between the Houston Astros and the Boston Red Sox, and we might talk about future World Series matchups that we think are going to be interesting. But let's go on first to the ALCS. The Boston Red Sox handily defeating the Houston Astros at the end of the game, 8 runs to 2. They take a series lead, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
2-1. Mm-hmm.
2-1. Okay, yeah, I was just making sure. And now this is a crucial game for both teams, the Red Sox and the Houston Astros, today.
Yeah, absolutely. So last night we saw a tight game get blown open in the 8th inning as the Red Sox and Jackie Bradley hits a grand slam in that 8th inning. So the Red Sox take command of the series with that win. Tough game last night. I think we saw a really good pitching duel, a little bit better than what I thought. I thought there was going to be some more runs early on in that game. Keuchel and Eovaldi, they pitched very well. Obviously, Eovaldi gets the win. He performed great, but even Keuchel, through his 5 innings, pitched well. His bullpen blew the game, but it was a tight game, especially when we saw 3 runs early. It was 2 in the first for Boston, 1 for Houston. In that first inning, it looked like we were heading for a high-scoring game, and although 8-2 looks a little high-scoring on one end, it didn't feel that way at all. It was a pitching game until that grand slam in the 8th inning. So the Red Sox take the win. What did you take from last night's game, Jeff?
I took that Houston's bullpen really didn't kind of imploded at the end there, and that might be a problem for later games in the series. That might linger in their head for a period of time. But they need just to shrug this game off and bounce back as best they can and make this an even series once again. Because if they lag 3-1 behind, I don't think they'll come back.
Yeah, you mentioned it. 6 runs given up by the bullpen, 5 by Roberto Osuna. He gives up 3 hits on 2/3 of an inning. Just a disastrous game for him, and a tough outing for that bullpen in general. The Red Sox, on the other hand, their bullpen was phenomenal. They kept it tight. They get the win. So they take the series win as they go up 2-1. We have Game 4 tonight. Did you see that catch by the left fielder on Houston, Kemp?
Wait, which one? There was multiple.
That catch where he hits the wall like it was a deep shot in the left field.
Oh, where he basically climbed their version of the Green Monster?
Yeah, and he hits his glove off the wall. It looked like, or it even sounded like it hit the wall because his glove hit the wall so hard. The Red Sox had them review it just to see if he actually made the catch or if it bounced in his glove. But it was a great catch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It was a great catch. I think, yes, you heard the wall smack with the ball, but I think that was just the momentum of the ball, how hard it was hit. And the glove is not it's not that thick where it will stop that momentum or stop, the leather will not make a sound or prevent it from making a sound. So that's just physics, I think.
So Jackie Bradley Jr. gets the grand slam last night. He's the hero as he's the one who sends the Red Sox to a comfortable win after a very tight game. You know, he had a really tough first half this season. A lot of Red Sox fans were calling for him to be traded. They were calling for the Red Sox to make a trade to bring somebody else in to replace Jackie Bradley Jr. And to his credit, he didn't let that get to him. He shows up big last night. He talked about staying even-keeled. He hits that grand slam, and he looked pretty stoic as he's rounding the bases. After the game, he talked about how he was taught that you want to keep a level head, no matter if you're winning or losing. You don't want anybody to know if you're winning or losing based on your emotions. What do you think about that mentality, and what do you take from the guy sticking in there this year after battling through a tough first half of the season, maybe through fans' comments and requests for him to leave? What do you think about his mentality?
Maybe not requesting, maybe threatening him to leave. No fan is just like, please don't play anymore. They'd be like, leave or else. But going through it, he's totally right about the emotion thing. If they know what your emotion are, they will take advantage of that. Hitters, I mean.
We see different types, especially in these baseball playoffs, and we'll dive into it on the other side a little deeper later on. But we see some players will be more emotional. I think the Astros are a team that shows a lot of emotion out there. They ride those highs. They, I don't know if they necessarily ride those lows, but you can tell with some players when a big play happens, they get excited. So, do you think that matters at all? Like, do you think that is good or bad when players are more emotional than others?
I wouldn't say it's bad, but I would say like you maybe read them better than the ones that don't show emotion, or like maybe how to take advantage of that situation. Like if they're angry or something, they might throw harder and then they'll throw a fastball and you can hit that fastball, or you can maybe try to guess some pitches based off emotion.
Yeah, so Jackie Bradley, again, he's last night's hero. We will see if he can ride this wave and maybe be that one little extra spark that Boston needs. I don't know if they need another spark, to be honest with you. That lineup
they
is potent.
They have 9 sparks on the field.
Did you happen? Yeah,
you got it.
Did you happen to see their issues that they're having at third base last night with Nunez and Devers? They both made some shaky defensive plays out there.
I don't think that's anything to worry about. I think it's more of a just dust off and move on.
Devers definitely gave up that run. I mean, he tried to backhand the ball. And Altuve scores.
I think he tried to get cute with it.
He should not have backhanded it. He should have just got his body in front of it. Mm-hmm. It was a hard chopper to third. He tries to backhand the short hop. And I don't think he needed to do it. I think if he was a little bit more active with his feet, he takes a step over, he gets his body in front. Maybe he doesn't get the out, but you have first and second with 2 outs instead of Altuve scoring from first base on that play. So it was a critical error. It did not cost them. At the end of the day, the Red Sox have the hitting to overcome mistakes like that, but it is something to keep an eye on as we enter later on in the series. Boston is up 2-1, but you don't want to give up a game anywhere, whether it's this round or in the World Series if they get there, because of some defensive miscues. And I just wonder what the mentality is for manager Alex Cora as he tries to figure out who's going to play third base from here on out, Nunez or Devers. I mean, both are having defensive issues, so it will be something to look out for. We all know that's an important position in the infield. So, but yes, ultimately the Red Sox overcome that mistake. They overcome those shaky moments out there at third base, and they win 8-2. So they're up 2-1. So let's move on to tonight. They actually will play Game 4. It's in Houston again, of course. Houston will be hosting. It is the later game of the 2 on the slate today. We have Charlie Morton against Rick Porcello. From the outset, what do you think about this matchup?
I'm going to go with Houston because it's home in Houston. I feel like that's going to play a big advantage after a tough loss like that. if they don't bounce back from this, they're going to lose the series. I'm going there. I'm basically saying whoever wins this game takes the series.
Yeah, and we all know with baseball, it's always great to have the better lineup in terms of hitting, but how do you break down this pitching matchup? Who do you think has the advantage and why?
Porcello, I think Porcello does, just because he's just been on a better roll than his adversary, I guess you can say.
Yeah, Morton hasn't pitched since the 30th of September.
Yeah, Morton has been.
He had a great year, but he hasn't pitched.
He's gonna come out. He hasn't played. He hasn't started a postseason game.
He's pitched 3 innings on the 30th of September. He has not pitched since. It was 3 innings. He had right shoulder issues before that, so he's not been playing that much over the last month or two.
He's cold. He's not. He could be tight. Like he's probably like.
I think it's a tough spot for him, man.
That's a tough spot for anybody, let alone someone that hasn't been.
Porcello has looked good in the postseason. He's started. He's come off in relief.
It's almost been an entire month.
Yeah, so it's hard for me to say that the Astros are going to win this game when Porcello has already felt the gravity of the postseason. He's already played in big moments and in big games. He came on in relief in the 8th inning before during the last series. He has started a game. I just think that he's a pretty good pitcher, and he is in midseason form, quote unquote, or postseason form, as Morton will be pitching his first game in 17 days.
That's a lot of days for those who don't know. That's over 2 weeks.
Baseball is one of those sports, too, especially for pitchers. They like their routine. You know how starting pitchers are. They pitch every 5 days. They throw
They're kind
bullpen.
of superstitious.
Yeah, they throw bullpen. They have a schedule. We make fun of them about how they barely work, right? Like they pitch once a week, but they have a routine. They do recovery, they do rehab, they study opponents, they do throw.
It's a lot of pressure on your arm is basically.
Yeah. So with that being said, you really think Houston will win tonight?
They need to win.
They definitely need to win, but do you think they will win?
It's going to be close. I feel like it's going to be another pitching battle. Like I don't think it'll be starting pitching battle. I think it'll be bullpen once again.
So do you think that if it gets to a bullpen game, who has the edge? Houston just blew that game last night.
I know, but are they going to play the same guys they just played in that game?
Probably most of the same, yeah.
Maybe not the guy that gave up the grand slam.
I mean, as soon as basically their guy, like he's one of their better pitchers. He had a tough outing last night, but
maybe you should be just the manager then.
I'm just saying, I don't know. It's I think they're in a tough spot here. You're looking at a team that I think their lineup is a little bit less than the Red Sox. They're starting pitching.
I'll put it like this: whoever the bats need to be loud in Houston.
For Houston, yeah. They have to get hits off Porcello. They got to score runs early.
If they don't get hits, I know that sounds so cliche, but I think their hitting is more crucial in this situation than their pitching. Because they need him to score some runs.
It's hard for me to see how the Astros will win this game if they don't score early, because if it goes to the bullpen and it's close, I got the Red Sox winning. If it goes to a game where they're both hitting the ball well right off the bat, I go Red Sox. If it's, you know what I mean? Like I see more avenues for the Red Sox to win this game. Mm-hmm. But you make a good point. It's basically a must win. You do not want to go down 3-1 to this Boston Red Sox team, as they turn over the rotation again.
Overall, record-wise, the best Boston Red Sox team.
And then, you lose this game, you face Chris Sale and David Price in your next two. It's going to be a tall order to come back from 3-1. In baseball, you can come back from 3-1, but it's not easy to come back against this Red Sox team who can pitch and who can hit. So
they won 108 games. That speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And they have 2 potential AL MVPs.
They are a very well-rounded
They probably
team.
are almost guaranteed an AL MVP winner in either Betts or Martinez.
Yeah. They've been, incredible all season. They're showing up here in the postseason. Big game.
Betts especially.
Big game tonight. I expect those fans in Houston to be going crazy, but it will be important for them to score early, I think. I think the Astros will need to score early because you want to get those fans in the game. You want them excited. You don't want the Red Sox to come in and put up a 2 or 3, in the first inning or two and kind of separate themselves from Houston. Yeah, I don't know if they will. I don't know if Houston wins this game if they'll win the series, but I think it could be a 7-game series if they win tonight. But I think we should take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the NLCS, last night's epic 13-inning game in Game 4, a game the Dodgers needed. We'll talk about it. We'll see if the Dodgers did get it and what happened in that game.
We will see you in a bit.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
And welcome back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast. We just finished talking about the ALCS matchup that's happening tonight between the Houston Astros and the Boston Red Sox. Now we're moving on to the National League Championship Series, NLCS for short, between the Brewers and the Dodgers. They just came up a 13-inning game. The Dodgers took it. There was some tension in the game as Machado kicked the first baseman as he was running along, which caused a lot of tension and accusations against Machado. Do you think that'll play a factor in this game coming up today?
Yeah. But we should probably break down the game first before we get into all that. So the Dodgers, they win last night, like you mentioned, 2-1 in extra innings. Just a game they needed to have. They were down 2-1 in the series. They evened it up. But it's a game where if you're going to go 13 innings, you're going to use your resources in terms of all your arms, bullpen arms, starting pitching arms. It's a game you want to get because, you go into the next game depleted in that regard, as we will see today. It's a quick turnaround for the Brewers and the Dodgers. But, Bellinger, he has been struggling, but he gets a key hit in the 13th inning to spoil Milwaukee's bid to go 3-1 in this series. A tight game throughout, just a pitching duel. The Dodgers scored first, in the first inning. They get up 1-0, but the Brewers battle back. Santana doubles in the 5th. Arcia scores, so they come back, but then no one scores. They get finally into the 13th inning after some incredible pitching out of both bullpens. The Dodgers win. What do you take of last night's game? Do you think how big of a win was that for the Dodgers?
Oh, well, it was monumental, that's for sure. It was a must-win. We said that yesterday in our sports podcast. This team needed to win this game to stay in the series because they didn't. The Brewers would take it. Now it's a tie. It's 2-2 instead of 3-1, and that is a huge difference in momentum and a feeling going into this next game. And the Brewers need to win this or else their momentum's gone.
Yeah, they could go from up in the series 2-1 to down in the series 3-2 in a matter of just about 15 or 16 hours when we think about it. So it's crucial. It's a big game. They're actually going to start that game at 2 o'clock Pacific time. So they ended at about 11:30 Pacific time last night. So doing the math there, that's 14, 15 hours that they have until first pitch today.
Sounds about right.
That's not a lot of time. And when you win, like the Dodgers did, it kind of gives you that boost because you're tired the next morning. Maybe your routine is thrown off a little bit because of the long game from the night before, but it feels better waking up when you won.
You don't have your coffee or your breakfast, and you're tired, and you're out of it, and you...
But it's easier if your team won the night before. It's harder if they lost, right? So, if you had lost, so... We will see what happened. You alluded to it though, and I want to talk about it in just a second. But the bats have gone kind of silent for both teams here. As it's kind of been an unexpected pitching duel in my opinion.
Well, we said this first things first. We said pitching wins championships. Right now,
sure,
it's showing.
Yeah. So.
Clearly, it's showing.
You mentioned last night an incident that happened, and I want to talk about it.
Go for it. Ask away. Talk away. It's all you. It's all you. Just ignore me. It's all good. Just you're good.
No. I'm not ignoring you. I definitely want to hear your opinion on it. But
okay.
We saw Manny Machado.
Yes.
He had an incident last night. He hits a ground ball. He's running it out. He runs the first baseman over there, Aguilar. He's standing on the bag just like any first baseman would. His foot's on the inside part of the bag. Is it on top of the bag? A little bit, but it's not in the way of the base path or in the way of the base runner. There's a ton of base.
Something to get wild up about.
There's a lot of base for somebody to run on as a runner there. So he kicks Aguilar's leg. It turns into something where both benches clear. Some words are exchanged. Ultimately, no punches are thrown.
One kick was thrown, but that was before benches cleared.
Yeah. And I get it. That was hilarious. So, yeah. And nothing happens of it, but it is an incident. It's another incident with Manny Machado. He's kind of known for being a dirty player, doing some questionable things on the baseball diamond. He has a reputation, I would say. But
kind of a jerk.
Do you think that it was intentional?
It looked kind of intentional. He was looking at the foot as he was kicking, and it wasn't like he didn't see it and he was tripping. He didn't even trip.
It looked intentional.
If he hit his leg unintentionally, he would stumble over because he would not expect that momentum shift to stop. But he saw it coming.
It looked pretty intentional to me. I don't know. It would take some blue tinted glasses, in my opinion, to think that wasn't intentional. But I just wonder why.
Dodgers fan.
I just wonder what's up with him sometimes. Like I know he's an emotional player, but we talked about in the first segment how Jackie Bradley Jr. is so stoic out there. He hits a grand slam in a big moment in a playoff game you'd barely even know. Machado grounds out, and then he kicks a guy at first base. And he's all the talk. Yeah. So what do you think about, you thought it was a dirty play?
I think he was lying and saying, well, it wasn't intentional. Just, like, if you're frustrated, you can be frustrated. I understand it's baseball. But the fact of the matter is, if you're trying to hurt or trying to, like, even if it's a little thing like that could cause, you never know what injury that could cause. His foot is planted and you hit his foot or hit his shin like that. And the bones are so fragile and anything can happen in that situation. But I do think Manny Machado intentionally did it. He doesn't deny not doing it, which is suspicious. He keeps saying, like, you saw what happened, you saw the game, you saw the footage, which doesn't really... To me, it doesn't seem like, oh, I'm innocent. He could have said, oh, that was totally unintentional, I apologize to him. He didn't apologize or anything. So it comes off as like he obviously wanted to make a statement.
We saw him get on base there further on in the game, and him and Aguilar are talking to each other. You know, they're covering their mouths as they're speaking to try and not let on.
Slurs were inserted.
Do you think that they squashed it, or do you think there was a lot of trash talk between those two?
Oh, there was a lot of trash talk. Machado doesn't let things go.
Like, do you think that he had his hand over his mouth, like, hey, you know, I'm smiling right now, but like, I'm totally gonna like get you, you know, when I see you on the street.
Yeah,
know?
But like, Manny Machado, like he's known for being sensitive. Like, do you remember that one time when he was in Baltimore and they did? I think I talked about this earlier, but he had the ground ball and he was running to third and a guy tagged him and he got all like huffy and puffy and threw his helmet at him.
Yeah, he acts like a diva. I mean, he's a diva.
I don't know what the big deal is being tagged. It's baseball. Get used to it. Like,
I think he's a great baseball player, and you can be the biggest Manny Machado fan in the world, but know that sometimes
he's a drama queen.
Yeah, sometimes he lets his emotions get the better of him. He needs to grow up a little bit. In my opinion,
he's like Odell Beckham, a little bit.
Yeah, but Odell's out there not trying to
Antonio Brown?
Crap. But they're not trying to start crap. Like,
so Vontae's perfect.
I wouldn't go that far, but you know what I mean. Yeah, Odell Beckham or someone like that, a wide receiver, is usually upset because they didn't get the ball, but they're not over there, stepping on DB's ankles when they're laying on the ground.
You don't think they would take that chance if they're given the opportunity?
Probably not. We haven't seen it happen with those two. But regardless, back to this game and back to baseball. Christian Yelich said it was a dirty play by a dirty player. He did not mince his words. He did mention that he respects Manny Machado and his great ability, but that he can't respect somebody who does these things because one time is a mistake, but this is a habit for him, and that's what Yelich said. It's the boy who cried
wolf, basically.
So what do you think about the comments by Yelich? Do you think that it was
out? Right. He didn't go off on him or anything. He could have, but he said it in a very calm voice, and he's saying it as calmly and as sophisticated as possible.
I agree with him too. Like what he said was right. Manny Machado is a great baseball player.
Yeah.
He does incredible things on both ends.
He praised the guy before bashing him.
He's a great fielder. He's a great hitter. He's obviously one of the better players in the Major League Baseball, but
he just has an attitude problem.
Yep. When you have antics like that, I think Yelich said it perfectly when he said, "I respect him as a player, but I can't respect somebody who does that. Can't respect the person who does that." So
it's a pretty selfish thing to do. And Yelich is just going to be a potential NL MVP.
I think he will actually win it, even though
because they made the playoffs. He's going to get the MVP.
Yeah. Do you think that? Do playoffs matter in those votes?
I mean, wins are important when it comes to being a most valuable player, but sometimes you're on such a bad team and you're doing all you can. Sometimes you should get the MVP. Yelich
has been struggling in the postseason,
but it's regular season MVP.
Yeah, I know,
not postseason.
I understand that, but I'm saying, like, do you think that can sometimes sway a voter?
Maybe,
because they don't actually do the vote until after the postseason, right? Like they don't actually cast their vote.
Yeah,
until
I'm not sure. But it's not official until after the season,
or maybe they do it during the World Series, if I remember correctly. Don't between games in the World Series they announce those winners like Cy Young and all that. Maybe. Regardless, you know what though? He does have a really good history against Clayton Kershaw, and that leads us into this afternoon's game, which will literally happen in about 5 hours here. First pitch is in LA. Tickets are available, by the way, in case you don't know.
By the time this goes on, they will not be.
They're still available right now.
Okay.
You can still buy Dodgers tickets from not a reseller, from the team. That's incredible. That's not
impressive.
good. That's not good. But
okay, it's the middle of a weekday.
I don't care.
In the afternoon,
it's the NLCS.
It's a work day at 2 p.m. People are working.
NL.
People have jobs. People want to have families to feed. Think of the families, Mark.
Do you think that the Astros would have problems selling tickets out today, or the Brewers if they were at home?
Think of the people. Think of the children.
I am thinking of the people. I'm thinking of the great fans out there that are going to these games.
Okay, 2 o'clock. Kids are still in school. Parents are working. Who's available on a Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m.?
A lot of people can make the time.
Yeah, they'll have to call it. They'll use a sick day or a personal day. Plus, it's not
What's
even.
What's wrong with that? You take the afternoon.
Can you let me finish? It's not a clinching series. It's not a clinching game either. So even there's going to be another game.
I have no idea why you're going out of your way to defend this because it's indefensible.
I'm defending the American people, and plus, this is not even a clinching series.
You're not defending the American people. You're defending Dodgers fans who. I just talked to you about other games where other teams would be selling out this game.
Granted, but okay, I'm just saying. The fact of the matter is, it's
just Dodgers.
It's a 2 o'clock. It's a 2 o'clock weekday Wednesday game, and there's gonna be guaranteed another game after that.
All right. Anyways, Kershaw against Wade Miley today at 2 p.m. What is your take? Who do you like in this game? Miley or Kershaw? Who has the edge there?
Kershaw struggled in his game in game one, so I think
Miley's been hot.
Yeah, we got to go Miles, huh?
Miley's been hot, and Kershaw has, well, at least struggled in the last game, but
he gave up a home run to a reliever.
Do you think that this is a defining game for Clayton Kershaw? I know he's pitched in bigger games, but this seems to be a very big game in his career and big for his legacy. So, what do you see from him coming into today? And sometimes I feel like he can lose focus a little bit on the mound, like we saw last game where he gave the home run.
He gets frustrated easily. He gets rattled up.
So do you think we'll see a more focused Clayton Kershaw, a more on-point Clayton Kershaw today?
Possibly, but we'll see.
Well, what do you think? Yes or no?
His emotions, I feel like he will, if he plays like he played on game 1, I feel like he's going to struggle again against his Milwaukee team. I think the Milwaukee Brewers take this.
Do you think, though, that it helps that the Dodgers won last night for him, like maybe feeling a little bit less pressure because they had won last night?
Yeah, but I think...
Because it's 2-2. It could be 3-1 right now, whereas the elimination
But
game.
I still think Kershaw is still rattled from game 1. I think they'll play a factor in this game.
And Wade Miley, he's been good. He's been incredible for the Brewers. He's been a revelation for them. You know, we're going to see 2 lefties again, left-handed pitching. I think left-handed pitching hurts the Dodgers a little bit more than the Brewers. You know, we'll see if Bellinger can get back on track. He has struggled for the Dodgers, but he did have the big hit last night, so maybe that's what he needs to get back. I'm not sure what to make of this game, to be honest with you. That win was huge. We're going to see a lot about Milwaukee and their attitude today. If they come out hot, if they come out fired up and disciplined.
It's anyone's game, let's just say that.
It's tricky for the Brewers, though, I think, because you do lose a 13-inning game, which is always tough to do.
That's demoralizing for sure.
It's a big turnaround. Their depleted bullpen will be an issue tonight. Josh Hader's probably not going to get to pitch. But it's pivotal because you need to come out strong, but you need to come out focused and patient against Kershaw. So you don't want to get overamped, right? Like you don't want to be too high or too aggressive at the plate early on. You want to be aggressive against Kershaw. Of course, we know that you can get him on the first pitch. Sometimes he likes to throw that fastball or changeup over the right down Broadway.
Because usually guys check the first pitch anyways.
Right. We know that Kershaw can get lazy with that first pitch every once in a while, but at the same time, you don't want to be over aggressive and start swinging at Kershaw's nasty stuff. Like he's got some nasty pitches. So
just when is he going to bring him out is the big question.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting game. I think the Dodgers are going to win. I'm
sticking with the Brewers.
It's just the quick turnaround, and I think the Brewers might be a little overamped. I'm not sure what their mentality will be. And the Dodgers being at home, I trust them to be more cool, collected, and confident in this game.
Well, we'll see how that turns out today. But we'll take a short break. When we get back, we'll talk about some scandals that are happening in the American League side between the Houston Astros and the Boston Red Sox. We'll get more on that when we return.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast. We just finished talking about the ALCS and NLCS matchups that are happening today. And now we're going to go on to another topic at hand regarding the ALCS teams. Houston Astros and Boston Red Sox, over the last week, have been accused of cheating. The Boston Red Sox have been accused of using multiple pitchers have been accused of using pine tar with video evidence seeing them rub their hand on their arm of a some shiny foreign substance and putting it on the ball right before pitching. Multiple pictures and multiple video evidence of that. And with the Houston Astros, there is evidence of them stealing signs and using videotape, I believe, to check to use to their advantage. And does this put a damper on the team's success?
It really does. This is one of the greatest matchups in the postseason that we've had in a while, in my opinion, in terms of just excitement. Obviously, we don't know if we're going to see more moments in the series that'll be memorable, but just in terms of the two teams involved, yeah, I mean, you're talking about the defending champions who are actually the underdog against a team that won 108 baseball games. Like, that's a heavyweight title fight right there. So it really sucks. Like, to be honest with you, like that it's taking away from the players. It's taking away from these great teams, the pitching, the hitting, things like that. We don't want to be talking about scandals and cheating and stealing signs and pine tar. Like, we should be talking about Altuve, Betts, Martinez.
Well, just to be clear, for those who don't know, if you put like a foreign substance on the baseball as you pitching, like pine tar, for example, it puts more curve on puts more like of a off speed type thing on the ball where it drops more, or the curve is more curvy, I guess you can say.
I mean, even like putting saliva on the ball is a big deal. So anything else
it changes the perspective, it changes the ball, it changes the pitch,
the trajectory for sure.
Yeah, and it throws the players off, and that's for those who don't know what this cheating, how you cheat with pine tar and putting it on the ball. It just messes with the pitch, and it's just not fair.
Yeah, and we're talking about this. We'll get into the Astros side of they're not exactly being accused of being choir boys themselves, so we'll talk about that situation. But I don't know. It's one of those things, though, Jeff. Like, it might be against the rules, but do baseball players really care? I'm wondering if like they actually would care. Like, I'm not saying like fans shouldn't care, but like do you think it's one of those things where like, well, we don't really care. Like, everybody can do it, or everybody kind of does it their own way, or whatever.
Well, if you're the signs of the pine tar part.
Before you jump into it, what we know about baseball is that they love their unwritten rules. So what I'm saying is, it might be a written rule because it is. Where you can't use a foreign substance on a ball.
Immediate ejection. Right.
We know that that's the official rule, but we know about baseball's unwritten rules, so it might be one of those things where, yeah, that's a rule, but like nobody really enforces it, like jaywalking.
Yeah. I never thought I would go that way, but sure.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, haven't you ever crossed the street in front of a police officer and you weren't in a crosswalk and nothing happened? Like,
yeah, but I also didn't like flip them off as I was doing it.
Right. So
do you get what I'm getting at, though?
Yeah. So what you're saying is you can have pine tar on your arm, but if you flip off the umpire while you're doing it, then you're gone.
If you're blatantly showing that you're breaking the rules,
yes.
Then
it's interesting. It's something that gets caught on camera, but is that something that, like the whole pine tar on the arm thing, can you really see that? It was
on his forearm, and you saw the shiny substance.
Yeah, but you don't see it from the umpire's perspective, right? Maybe one of the other umpires on the field.
Yeah, but
not the home plate guy.
Well, wouldn't a coach notice it, or would you notice a player noticing it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe they do notice it, but it's like an unwritten thing, or like they don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they don't enforce it. Like, yeah, but who cares?
I guess it depends on the player and it depends on the team, but I would be.
It's like when you're in a co-ed softball league and like you know that the other team has a player that's not on the roster, but you're like, it's co-ed softball,
Okay, that is two completely different things. One, you're not getting paid millions of dollars to play co-ed softball.
But like we can win.
Playing with gorgeous women ain't getting paid millions of dollars. Oh shoot.
Anyways, yeah, that was a terrible analogy. I'm sorry.
As I was saying,
we should cut this, but we'll just let it roll.
I'm letting people listen to this.
Co-ed softball.
It's not like I used to. Okay. Anyways,
co-ed softball. Don't be the guy. Don't be the guy that calls out the other team in a co-ed softball game for using a player that's not on the roster. I'm just saying, don't be the guy. Just don't be the guy.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Because then everyone's gonna hate you.
So let's.
But if you're in a league that pays, I don't know, $300 million to a player and they cheat, and when you win a World Series you get a big bonus. Yeah, I would say if you're cheating, I would call you out on it.
So the Astros have been accused of cheating themselves, as they've been accused of stealing signs and recording opposing dugouts and things like that. Well, they're being investigated for Game 1 of the ALCS. For an Astros employee was removed from the media credentialed area near the Red Sox dugout. It looked like the individual who didn't have a credential, might I add, had a small camera and was using his phone frequently per the report. So it is something that is being investigated at the moment. But the Indians, the Cleveland Indians and the Oakland Athletics had filed some complaints similar to this earlier in the year on the Astros. So it sounds like some shady things are going on with Houston in terms of their employees being used to steal signs or do some interesting things to acquire some information that may be against the rules. What is your general feeling about this? What's your take?
I hate that both teams that are in the ALCS have been accused of cheating, and there's evidence of it. If it was like there was no evidence, they just said, oh, he's cheating because I say so. But there's actually evidence of cheating. That really puts a sour taste in my mouth when it comes to watching those two, and one of those two teams gets in the World Series. It puts a damper on their legacy as a team, too, which
Do
is
you
sad.
believe A.J. Hinch when he said that he's aware that something's going on, but he doesn't really know what's going on? Like, he's aware something's going on, but he has no idea what's been happening. Do you believe that?
It sounds like he's like, oh, I knew that, but I just didn't want to tell anyone.
I mean, obviously, he's, absolving any blame from him. Like, if the Astros are, in fact, caught or it is determined that they did cheat in some fashion, he's absolving blame by saying, I have no idea what's going on. Do you believe him, though? Like, are you...
I don't. Like, everyone... like
you know what's going on. You're the manager of this
Did you cheat
club.
on your wife? I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
That's another terrible analogy. I had one and you have one now, so
What,
cool.
Cheating on your wife and saying I have no idea what you're talking
No,
about?
the analogy is just not anywhere near the same, but I messed up too, so it's cool. We're human. But yeah.
I'm a robot. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a Saiyan.
You kinda are a robot.
I am a Saiyan. You know what a Saiyan is?
It's something probably has to do with Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, well, at least you know what it's from. Anyways.
All right, so you don't think that A.J. Hinch is being honest, is what you're saying?
Would you be?
Would I? Yeah, no, I don't think he's being honest, and I think that I would do the same thing if I was trying to lie. So,
when you're trying to lie, I think I know what's going on, but I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't know if this guy's trying to kill the president, but
when somebody asks you something, you didn't hear anything, you don't know anything, and you didn't see anything like that, So it is what it is. But do you think that with the report now that the Indians, the Athletics, and now the Red Sox are involved, is this looking like the Astros are definitely up to some shady stuff?
Well, let's look at the teams that are accusing them. Pretty sure those are the teams they beat in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean the A's they faced in the regular season, but you're right. They're teams that face the Astros in big games.
Cleveland is what I'm mainly going after.
Sure, I'm with you. So, gosh, it just it's so unfortunate. Like, why are we talking about this? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why? No. We have to. I know we have to, but I mean, why are they giving us this? Do you remember, though, how the Red Sox had that iWatch scandal a couple years ago in 2017? So not even a couple years ago last year. It sounds like the
Boston Red Sox are taking stuff from the New England Patriots.
The Red Sox have been accused...
Yeah, I went there. Fight me on it.
The Red Sox were accused of using Apple Watches to steal signs against the Yankees. That was, of course, last year.
I believe that was September of 2017.
It was. Which brings into a whole other can of worms about technology on the field. Like, okay, I get it. Maybe you can't have a cell phone as a base coach or something like that, but a watch? Oh, it's an Apple Watch. Okay, well, you're connected to the internet, and you can talk to people. So,
yeah,
it's very interesting. So what's going on in baseball? Do they need to tighten this thing up or what? Do they need to, employ some security on teams? I don't know if they need to watch
maybe a strict Wi-Fi connection for every electronic use on the field.
It is kind of funny though. As I was watching the game last night,
did you see Apple Watches everywhere?
No, as I'm watching the game, you know how they do those interviews with the managers in the dugouts?
Yeah.
And I can't remember which game I was watching. because I watched both of them, but I can't remember which manager it was, but he said something like, "Oh, so-and-so is like definitely feeling his curveball tonight, so he's going to keep using that." And I thought that was just like, what are you doing?
You're
like, why are you
exposing them?
talking? Like, and I get it. Like
Chris Collinsworth. Now here's a guy.
well, I mean, I get it. Like the media, the broadcast, like on Fox and things like that, and TBS and all those different
What's
channels.
your point of this?
My point is that they're always going to want to get good coverage. They're always going to want to get interesting coverage. But like, if you're the manager, why are you saying that stuff? Like, I get it. You're kind of required to say something because that's part of your job nowadays is to talk during games, which is kind of weird in my opinion, but I understand the angle of it. But like, why would you say that? Because anybody can see that it's during the game. It's not like that pitcher's out of the game.
It's something fishy.
It's the pitcher's not out of the game. You're telling people, and yes, maybe the other team already knows that. Okay,
Maybe this guy's gonna take a fall. Like, it's like he's like a mafia guy. It's like, hopefully he doesn't get an accident during this game.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, like
It's suspicious.
It's one thing for for hitters to come back to the dugout and be like, "Oh man, Kershaw's curveball is just really working tonight." But it's another thing to have a manager be like, "His curveball's working. We're going to keep doing that." Like that's just a different way of saying it.
It's suspicious. It's fish. Something's fishy's going on.
I don't know, man. But
there's a lot going on. But we're going to take another short break.
don't cheat, and don't be the guy on your co-ed team that calls out the other team for maybe using a player not on the roster just because they need to have enough players to play the game. Just have fun, people.
Don't be strict enforcer, dude, because you're not going to be liked.
And don't be the pitcher for your co-ed softball team that's using pine tar either. Don't be that guy.
Or
girl.
But it's an I'd say, wait, it's an underthrow pitch. How is he going to do?
You get some curve. You got to flip it.
Oh, you rookie of the year?
Yeah.
Rowan Gardner?
Just float it. Just float it.
Fine, whatever. This is so. Shouldn't that be cheating? They used a boy who's not even.
He's not even legal. Like he can't even like.
I don't
vote.
think that was the word I was going for. I think that's not legal because there's some 17-year-olds in like minor leagues and stuff. What I was trying to say is, you sick freak, is where his arm has steroids in it, or his arm is like too tight from a cast. Like they would think this is like no.
That's
kid can throw
that's basically modern day Tommy John surgery, right?
No kid can throw that hard.
Because like now everybody comes back when they tear their ligament in their elbow, they come back stronger.
We're just gonna have people use robot arms from here on in. Just watch.
Let's go to break. When we come back, we got a couple stories, including a couple that has to do with L.A. Not just the Dodgers, though. The Los Angeles Angels as well. So we'll be right back.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
And welcome back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast. We've talked about the NLCS, ALCS, obviously. We've talked about some cheating scandals that have been happening between the ALCS participants, the Houston Astros, and the Boston Red Sox. Now we have something in Los Angeles, and it's not about the NLCS. Please enlighten the audience.
It has to do with somebody who is involved in today's NLCS game, but no, it does not. So Clayton Kershaw, do you know that today he could be possibly making his last start ever as a Los Angeles Dodger? Did you know?
No, I did not.
Okay, so let me
Is
explain.
his contract expiring?
Let me explain.
No. I'm going to guess first. Is it a contract?
Let me explain.
No, I'm going to guess, and you're going to see if I'm right or not.
Of course it's in his contract. What else would it be?
Is he not
He's
allowed-
not retiring.
Did he support Kevin Spacey? What did he do?
He can opt out of his 7-year deal that he signed in 2014. He can opt out for a new deal. He has 2 years left, $65 million. You might think that that's a lot, but I think that he can opt out now, and he probably thinks so as well, and get another $200 million contract. He already signed one
from
for
LA or from someone else?
Probably from LA, but if you're him, does it make sense to opt out? He's probably, the best regular season pitcher of our generation, at least regular season. So 2.73 ERA in 2018. He's coming off another great year. If you're him, do you opt out?
If you know you can get more money, yes.
Oh, he can get more money.
Then absolutely.
Everybody in the league would give him more money.
So you're saying he's going to get like $200 extra million?
I think he'll get another $200 million contract, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I would opt out.
Would you agree with that? That somebody will give him a $200 million contract? He might be the best pitcher.
This is a big free agent market, so why not take the opportunity to see what else is out there?
I think you opt out, and then he turns 31 in March.
He's only 31 years old.
Not even yet.
Yeah.
He will be 31 when the season starts next year.
Yeah, if I'm him,
5 years.
If I'm him, I'm opting out, and I'm looking at like every team that has money.
5 years, $200
honestly,
million.
Wouldn't you go
5 years, $200 million.
Yeah, but teams that overpay
40 a year.
Can you let me finish?
40.
Okay. Anyways, look at a team like go up north to San Francisco. They will pay him an unbelievable amount of money. I don't know if
they'll pay him that much, but they will pay him.
Well, the thing is, the Giants have been known for overpaying. That's why I bring them up. The Yankees have been known for overpayment. I can also see them affording him. I can see him going to the Nationals because they lost Harper. Nationals will pay him a ton just so they can have a star player still. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, no, I get it. So if he does opt in, there's only one current pitcher in baseball that makes more money than him over the next 2 years. You know who that would be?
Is he also in the NL West?
Yes.
Is it Madison Bumgarner?
No, Madison Bumgarner has a really low contract. He's only making like $5 million.
Well, he's probably gonna get a raise soon. But
yes, it's Greinke.
Oh, because he went to Arizona. That's right.
Yeah. So we will see. Kershaw, he hasn't said anything. He says that he's just gonna let it play it out. He's gonna let the situation play out. He's not made a decision on his future. I don't know. If I'm him, I opt out. Baseball guaranteed contracts. Somebody will give him $200 million. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Why?
Maybe
why,
$250. I'll go up to $250.
And why would you stay? I mean, yes, people that are listening are probably like, oh, it's $60 million. You don't need more than that. But if you're offered 4 times as much money at your job, you're going to take it. Yes, absolutely.
If someone's like, do you want $60 million or $200 million?
Like
you're not going to say, oh, $60 million is enough for me.
Like $30 an hour is great, but wouldn't $50 an hour be good too? So, yeah, it's interesting to see what will happen.
Who's paying you $30 an hour, by the way?
I'm just saying I'm making it more realistic of a
That's not realistic.
comparison. Okay, $20 to $27 an hour.
There you go.
That's
America.
A big jump, right?
That's America right there.
All right. So I wanted to talk about one more situation that is going on. Do you know the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of California of the United States of the Earth of the solar system?
It's not funny when you do it that long.
Oh. Well, they are opting out of their stadium lease.
So they're no longer the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, California, New York.
So they're opting out of the Angels Stadium lease with the city of Anaheim. So they might sign another deal with the city of Anaheim, or they are considering building a stadium somewhere else, somewhere in Orange County. What do you think about this situation?
So would they still?
It doesn't seem like that park is that old.
Would they
right?
still be the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim? That's a nice stadium too.
Yeah,
I like the little river rock thing they got.
So
going.
the Angels terminated their lease on the last day possible before 2028. So they were going to opt into 10 years if they didn't terminate.
I see. I think that's why, because they probably they're double checking if they can get a bigger stadium.
Yeah, Angels spokesperson Mary Garvey said, she said, it's today or 10 years from now. There's no option in between. That's why we did it. So it's not like
that's a weird contract.
Exactly. It's not a final decision that they won't be playing in the stadium or that they will be building a new stadium, but it does allow them the flexibility to go that route if they choose so. So What do you think? Do you think that they'll continue to play in the stadium, or do you think that they will build another stadium?
I think there will be offers to build another stadium, but they'll eventually go back.
What about like how the Braves, they built that stadium like they didn't even have a stadium for very long, and then they built another one.
Yeah, that for 20 years?
Yeah, that's not long at all.
Where did they? Yeah, and the thing is, like, where are you going to play?
They were at Fulton County Stadium, and then they were at, what was the last one? Fulton County Stadium was the one they were in the 90s, where they were good.
Yeah, but like if they do get a new stadium from a team from an Orange County area, where are they going to play baseball till then?
Maybe in the same stadium. Maybe they do like a 1-year
a farewell tour type of thing, or they play in a LA stadium, the Dodger Stadium.
I mean, it's possible.
Where else are they going to play?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're going to be the Chargers and try to live with a team with a nicer stadium.
Yeah, so it is. It was Turner Field. That's what it was. Fulton County Stadium is where the Braves played, and then it was Turner Field, and now it's Is it SunSuite?
There's so many different names of stadiums now. I can't keep track of them all.
It's SunTrust, not SunSuite.
You're a SunTrust. Yeah, I went there.
Thank you. Yeah, they were only at Turner Field from 97 to 2016. So
jeez, that's almost nothing.
And then before that,
20 years.
Before the Fulton County Stadium, they were there for 30 years. So, it's interesting.
For those who don't know, that's an incredibly short amount of time for millions of dollars a stadium.
Yeah. So, for tonight, make sure, or today, I should say, because the NLCS will first pitch will be at 2:07. So, 2:07 Pacific time, 5:07 Eastern time. Make sure to check that out. Especially if you do live on the East Coast or even on the West Coast and you went to bed early last night.
Day to the East Side.
Yeah, so if you missed last night's thrilling 13-inning game, make sure you catch out today's game. See Clayton Kershaw pitch. I just like the Dodgers in this game. I also like the Red Sox in the later game tonight as Porcello plays Morton. And you have, Jeff, who do you have tonight?
I have the Astros and I have the Brewers.
Oh, wow. So we're completely opposite. Okay. So
They're
we will
going
be
down 10 push-ups, bet.
Like they both have to win?
Yeah.
Okay.
If both teams win, 20 push-ups because times 2.
Okay. 20 or 0. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Okay. Deal. So we'll be back with our baseball podcast next Wednesday. But check out our sports podcast. Check out our football podcast, fantasy football. We have a soccer podcast out later.
Please watch it.
As well.
I'm begging you.
So if you are interested in other things other than baseball, please check us out on the GSMC Podcast Network. Again, I'm Mark. He's Jeff, and we will see you later.
Next week. We will see you next week, to be exact. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.